Ladies, I'm so excited for this episode of Do Life in a Body You Love because I have an amazing guest here to talk with you all. Her name is Connie. She's super sweet, beautiful woman who just got wrapped up in my Keep It Off Academy and had a really great experience and graciously volunteered to come and chit chat with you ladies and give you all a little bit of inspiration. So Connie, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So why don't you start off by maybe sharing with the girls what was going on with you before we started working together that like made you want to do this kind of thing?
In my work, of course, I help people in different ways, with chronic disease, etc., and understanding how much of chronic disease you can relate it back to body, weight, and it causes so many problems for so many people. And yet, if we can manage that, we can prevent so much suffering and so much, disability and illness and sickness and loss of quality of life. So of course, that's how I kind of do my work. But then I had to take a good hard look at myself and recognize, gosh, over this time since you took the sedentary job and since your lifestyle changed somewhat, and I was putting on weight. Most of my life, I really never had to work at losing weight. I just never, I don't know, maybe because I worked ER all those years and just was, busy raising family, all that jazz. For whatever reason, very lucky, weight was just not really an issue. And, but now it did become an issue. And so I knew that I needed to walk the talk. And I truly understand at a very, very real life level how important it is to care about yourself. And it impressed me how many people don't really, especially women, I think we have a hard time recognizing it's not selfish when you pay attention to your needs. It's not selfish when you set aside specific time to take care of yourself. And it's certainly not selfish to plan eating and planning your overall meals and prepping and spending time caring for yourself, but we're taught that, I think, from a young age as girls, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not selfish at all. And in fact, one thing I've learned is that if you don't take care of yourself, the very people that you're trying to care for, you're not going to be able to care for them, and you actually turn the table on them. Now they actually have to take care of you. Yes. Nobody wants to be that burden, right? So now that I'm getting older, I think about those things, and it's like, I don't want someone to have to, the people that I love, I don't want them to have to be taking care of me. So it's important that I do take care of myself.
Yeah. And so that was a big deal. Healthcare worker perspective too, right? So because we see it. And so for the listeners who are listening that don't know you, Connie is also a nurse and she is also a health coach. So she has seen people on that, not doing so great in the later phases of life spectrum, and she helps people along on their own journey. So what, if anything, was making you maybe skeptical to get started in the Keep It Off Academy with a coaching program like this?
That's a very good question. And here's, I think the bottom line is, in fact, if I committed to a program like yours, then that meant that I was actually accountable and answerable to myself. And funny thing, I kind of didn't want to do that. I didn't want to look at the reality. I didn't want to look at I didn't want to look at self. I didn't want to say, hey, you need to start addressing these things. I knew I needed to. But when you actually commit, right, then it becomes different. But in fact, the transition from making that commitment and then doing it was actually, what's the word for it? A great experience. I loved what I learned. I loved what I learned about myself. And I loved seeing the changes, not just physically, but seeing the changes mentally. And it actually has helped me going forward in my own work.
Oh yeah, for sure. I love the fact that I have been coached by others because I do think it makes me a better coach. So I was excited for you to get that experience. And you're the first coach that I've coached. So I was a little bit like, oh, okay, I guess I better know what I'm doing here. I've coached other coaches on how to coach their clients that can't lose weight, like to help them problem solve. But you're the first coach that I've had come through the Keep It Off Academy. But I knew we were going to work well together because we've worked together in multiple capacities. So I wasn't worried about that.
Yeah.
What did change for you going through this program? Like, what kind of experience did you have? Like, what kind of results did you have? I know you lost your paper where you put down all your pre-measurements and you were so upset about that.
Yes, I'm still upset about that, Nikki. I'm still upset because I know there's like lots of inches gone, right? So, and I know that. So
I can see that just in your pictures. And for the listeners, Connie has graciously offered to share those. So I will put those, for those of you who listen on the podcast, I will put them up on the picture on the YouTube video so that you guys can see those. Cause you for sure lost a bunch of inches. There's no question about that in the photos. Do you know how much weight you lost?
13 pounds.
Okay.
Yes.
And it looks like more
to now. I agree with you. It really does. You know, if I would have said 15, nobody would have thought anything of it, or even, you know, more. So, and when I see the changes in my body, the difference in the feel of my clothes, how my clothes fit, or, and the clothes I can get back into, right, that I had outgrown. And so, yeah, I would agree that I do feel like actually I've lost more, but that's about where I'm at from my last weight. And, but even the progress in the time, by the time I actually really got committed and rolling with the program, I would say I did that in about, I want to say 11ish, like 10, 11. Well, yeah, I guess the program's 12 weeks. So yeah, but I'm thinking almost like 10, 11ish, you know.
Yeah, because then you also took 2 weeks off and went to Hawaii.
Yes. So I kind of lost that time. So yeah, that's right. I kept trying to figure out why is that time not working out, but that's right. Because I did take time off but there's just been so many changes. Let me try to think of one thing. What I love is my mindset, but that surprised me because I thought I had a pretty good mindset, right? I thought I was pretty, like I got it. But the fact of the matter is, it's interesting because the mindset changed in that confidence increased. And who knew I needed more confidence, right? But in fact, I really didn't have that much confidence that I could achieve it. I honestly didn't. So that was very interesting. That was a surprise for me to realize you didn't think you could do it, and look what's happening.
See, and some people know that they don't think they can do it, right?
Yeah.
You didn't even know that you didn't think you could do it until we started and you realized, oh, I do have limiting beliefs. And I think,
that's right.
I preach this all the time, right? Like if you're not getting the results that you want, there's a mindset issue. I don't know what it is, but we will figure it out in this program. I tell people that all the time. And people are always like, no, my mindset's fine. You just need to tell me what to eat. And I'm like, I promise you that's not what it is. There you go. You didn't even know you had a mindset issue.
Exactly. I didn't. And that's straight on. Yeah. So that's
awesome. You have not shared that with me yet. That makes me so happy that you have your confidence back.
Yeah, I do. I feel great about it. I feel great about what, you know, thankfully with you together, I think, you know, we've accomplished that. So I'm definitely happy. And obviously I still have a little bit to go. So I'm going to stay the course, which I have. And, but it's cool because like, I'm excited about it, right? It's like, this is like I'm in a no fail zone. I'm rolling.
I love everything about that. So to point out the obvious here, what do most of us do if we go on like a 12-week diet or a weight loss plan or something? We're counting down until it's done, right? Most people would have been like, cool, I go to Hawaii on this day, and then I'm going to come back and I'm just going to live like I normally do. And instead of you dreading getting back home and getting on your plan or not getting on your plan at all, she's excited, ladies. She's excited to continue on her journey, and she feels like she's in a no fail zone. Who can say that after a vacation? Nobody.
Yeah.
Because it's, well, I'm not going to say why. Why do you think it's different for you this time?
Well, that's a good question. Why is it different for me? I think a few things, but the support that you provide, you know, through the program, that was different. I really, when I have attempted, you know, before, because obviously I knew I was putting on some pounds and I knew that I need to lose it. One time I did try to lose weight and I was successful, but it's kind of funny because like I would start and it was successful, but then I would stop and I'm like not stick with it. So I'm not sure. I really, I guess I can't look back and think why was that? But what was different this time is I think the support through your, not only through you, but through the group as well, kind of just listening with women and kind of that bonding time. I like that. And I like the support that we can provide to each other. So it's kind of it's a team effort, right? So when you have a team behind you, I think greater things can be accomplished.
I totally agree. So a lot of people are hesitant for like a group approach. And I get why, because I'm not personal. And I'm not a group work person, not even in school. Like, I don't want to work with a group on a project. I just want to do it and do it my way and do it right. And I don't want to share things with people. Sorry, the dog's barking. Yeah. I'm going to wait for the dog to stop. Okay. I think he's done now. But I am also in a couple of programs where I am being group coached. And I can tell you that even though I did not think I was going to like it, it made, how do I explain this, the difference in the support? When we're on a weight loss journey, when we're on any type of a journey, it can feel very isolating. And just hearing that other people are experiencing what you're experiencing, because we all think that our problems are unique to us and that something's like wrong with our brain, right? When I say they're not unique to us, I'm not discrediting how important they are and how terrible they feel. I'm just saying we all struggle with a lot of things that are more similar than we think. And sometimes just knowing that, like, oh, I'm not the only person on the planet who feels like this, or who's went through this, or hearing from the women who have already progressed past the point where you are, it gives you hope that, like, oh, you felt what I did and I can get through it because you did. Like, there's so much good stuff, I think, that comes out of a group setting. I totally agree.
Yeah, I think that's a good component of your program, is that you do have that team. And the sense of acceptance too, right? There's no judgment. There's no, oh, what in the world? Well, why haven't you? Or, you know, so that you're just very accepting and knowledgeable, obviously, and you're able to kind of work through the paths, because it's a little bit convoluted sometimes, right? Because like you said, you it's not just a matter of here's what you need to eat. It's what does your life look like, and how can we make this work for you?
Yes, because it's got to work for like whatever your life looks like. And having these big pie in the sky ideas of eating this perfect way and doing these perfect workouts, it's like, well, that ain't my life. So.
Right, exactly. Exactly. That might be a little bit of my fear too. You know, it's like, oh, I don't want to live like that the rest of my life. Right. But it's fabulous, and it's improved, you know, my outlook. It's improved my life. It's improved even, you know, it's improved work. It's improved my energy level. It's improved my, really and truly, just my whole increase in positive outlook, which I'm typically a positive person. It's not that I walked around, what is that called, Debbie Downer?
Yeah, you're not all like,
right. I've never been that person, but I think, again, I think just confidence, surprisingly enough, you know, I really didn't have that. And so it's the things I learned about myself that were interesting, but I grew from that. So I guess that is just all that. And it's made a big difference for me.
Oh, I love everything about that. I tell people all the time, I'm like, okay, yeah, we're gonna get weight off of you, but this is gonna end up being so much more. And usually that's the case, because to get to a point where we can keep weight off, we got to kind of work through those mindset things, right? And so, yeah, it's always so interesting to me to hear what kind of mindset growth you guys have, because I'm not always aware of it while it's happening. Sometimes I am, and it's obvious, but like for you, you've always seemed confident anyways. So I would have never known if you wouldn't have just shared that you grew more confident and more optimistic, because you always came across as that way to me anyways. So that's super cool. So you're happier in your clothes, energy is better, life outlook is better. You're very comfortable now that you can continue on this path and get to your goals and keep it off forever. You're not did you ever feel like it was super strict?
No, not at all. No. And when I had like times where I felt like I would get a little bit hungry, and you always, were like, nope, don't get hungry. Maybe think about this or switch this or perk this up or whatever. And it always worked perfect.
Awesome. I think that's what helps know that you can do it also, is because now you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to eat food that you don't like. Like you can eat stuff that you like and lose weight. Nobody believes that.
Yes, you can though, you can. And the time spent in the program, the time spent doing this, it teaches it, it taught me how to rethink my eating, right? Taught me how to restructure what I want even. And so with that training time, then you get to come out the other side, having done that training, then you come out successful. I just think this was successful for me, and I can't imagine it not being that same opportunity for anybody else.
That's so awesome. What would you say to anybody who's kind of on the fence? Like they're looking at the Keep It Off Academy and they're like, I don't know, maybe they're reluctant about something else, but maybe they have the reluctancy that you did, like, I don't know if I really am ready to commit.
Yes, or be accountable to self, right?
Yeah. What would you say to somebody in that situation?
I would say take the journey. And the reason is because that time of self-discovery, we're not just learning about food and all this jazz, but it's that self-discovery. I think that's the most important part. And it's interesting because you get to know certain things about yourself. You get to work through things, and it's not really just about being accountable to yourself, but learning how to recognize yourself as worthy of this time and of this effort.
That is a big one. Feeling worthy of in putting that investment into yourself, right? Because a lot of us struggle with that. And I think we build it up in our head too, of like, well, once I get started, my life's going to be super strict. Like before I would start a diet, I would go on what I called my last supper, where I made my husband take me to the Chinese buffet and I would binge, and then I would diet for 3 days because that's how much willpower I had. And then I'm right back off the horse. Right. But it was always like that mindset of like, well, if I'm going to start this, I got to get everything out of my system, because this is going to be such a huge commitment. But because we don't just take everything right away, it's more of this journey of figuring things out. It's like, no, just jump in. Like, you're not going to have to live like a zealot when you start this program.
No, because it has to be something that you can live with the rest of your life, because what we're doing is teaching ourselves how to eat well and how to be well. And that lasts a lifetime, right?
Yes.
So that's what we're doing, is learning how to nourish our bodies, how to take care of ourselves, how to eat well for the rest of our life. So if you told me I could not have a cupcake ever, never again, I'd have been out. No.
Well, then bye. Well, I'm
it's
so
awesome.
excited to watch the rest of your own health journey unfold because we're all always still on a health journey. I'm still on my own health journey. It's never ending, right?
Absolutely.
And so I'm excited to watch this unfold for you, but I'm also excited to watch your health coaching journey unfold and see how you get to do this same stuff and help other people. And so this has been a really fun, like full circle coaching experience.
Isn't it great? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you so very, very much.
Yes. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing this with our lovely listeners. I know usually when people have come on the podcast, somebody always reaches out and says, wow, you know what? I really connected with that person. That really made me want to take action, whether it's with me or on their own. And so that is why I bring this to you listeners, is so you can hear real life experiences, not from me, but from other women who have walked along this path. Because when we've been trying to lose weight for so many years, we start to think it's not possible. And I want you guys to see real chicks that are doing the things and that actually have fun and know that this is possible for you too. So Connie, again, thanks so much for doing this. And I'm sure that we will be chatting very soon.
Oh, for sure. Thank you so much, Nikki.
Thanks for tuning in. It is my mission to give women back the confidence that they need to show up bigger in their lives. Right now, the world more than ever needs women who are on fire and living their purpose. If you want to join me in this mission, there's a few things you can do. 1, you can share this podcast with the women in your circle. 2, you can join me in my Facebook group, Simplified Fat Loss, or you can subscribe to my newsletter at nikkioday.com.